the Super Bowl technology ads, and QR code security. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by Zocdoc. Find local doctors who take your insurance. Learn more at Zocdoc.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. And folks, this is MacVoices Live. It's Tuesday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time it is, wherever you are. You should be in the chat room with us at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. If you're not, well, get over there. And if you can't be there, well, that's fine. Just set your voice assistant to remind you next week at the appointed hour and join us in the chat room. We've already got some folks in there now having some conversations and asking some things, and we will get to that as we move along. A couple of interesting topics tonight, and we never know what's going to come up off to the side, so we're just going to find out who's here, and then we'll get going. Taking the screen, as I always do, Mr. David Ginsburg is first. David, welcome.
Thank you, Chuck. Glad to be here. It's another beautiful Tuesday night and here to talk about some fun tech.
Beautiful. Okay. It's like 20 degrees where I am, so I'm not
it's
quite
cold
sure.
here too. I just thought it's a beautiful night to be here with among all of our listeners, say.
Okay. All right.
Tech Illuminati.
And video watchers.
Yeah.
We just had a thunderstorm here in California.
Wow.
I know. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to come on, but it seems to have passed, and I still have power and connectivity for now.
The trooper that you are. Next up, Mr. Guy Searle. Guy, welcome. It's great to have you sporting a Baltimore Ravens shirt.
Well, I mean, they won the Super Bowl, didn't they?
In 2000 something.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
I think you're a little late.
Well, damn mainstream media anyway.
And quite recently on Geological Time.
Yeah. Drop in a bucket.
Good to see you, Guy.
Thank you. Good to be seen.
Andrew Orr is here. Andrew, it's great to have you. Thanks so much for joining in.
Hey, thanks for having me. And you know what? I would argue we are all at heart Mac observers.
Yes, we are. That is
okay.
Was that
pardon that pun. But
you might pardon it.
A little plug there from Andrew Orr. Nicely done, Andrew. Nicely done.
I'm observing my Mac right now.
Yeah, well, that's true. We all are. So,
there seem to be some weird guys on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every Tuesday.
One of them in a purple hat.
Who are these people?
And speaking of the purple hat, Mr. Jim Ray is here. Jim,
I haven't introduced myself.
No. Yeah. Who are you and what are you doing here?
Wait, what?
Did you forget where you're from? Is that why you have a California t-shirt on?
Oh, I guess so.
Go Rams.
Okay. This is actually from Silicon Valley, but I think it says Silicon Valley down here.
Oh, okay.
Don't lift it too high, please.
Don't worry, the camera is fixed, and
he's got the lip on it too.
It may be fixed, but if you pull your shirt high enough, it'll be broken. So let's not do that. So this last topic was sort of unplanned, and it came up today as we were seeing some things. Oh, and I should say too, by the way, that we have a little bit of a lighter panel today because I think a lot of people just they burned themselves out on Valentine's Day, but these guys are troopers. Either that or we have no relationships at all.
Or long time married. You know.
Jeff
married. There you go.
Jeff claims that Valentine's Day is today.
Yeah, well, I think he had schedule conflicts that required that. So
it's a conspiracy by the flower and candy people.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. So how many of you watched the Super Bowl?
I did.
Okay.
I did not. I just saw a couple of things on YouTube, like the halftime show and a particular ad.
Yes, we'll get to. Yeah, we're not even going to discuss the halftime.
There's two particular ads. I'll mention not just that one. There was another one that was interesting too.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, well, we won't touch on the halftime show because that's just going to be.
Yeah.
I guess I'm officially an old guy because
we're keeping tech.
I tuned out of the halftime show after about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the first ad we're talking about, I'm not sure which one David's talking about, but the first ad we're talking about is the one for Coinbase. And if you didn't see it, folks, you can probably find it online somewhere. But basically, it was just a QR code bouncing around the screen in a Pong-like style. And every time it hit a wall, it changed colors. And that was it till the very end, when it looked like a little backstage kind of thing saying Coinbase placement. So you knew what it was after the fact. But by then, it was too late for you to scan the QR code. So from what we've seen, apparently, a whole lot of people scanned the QR code.
Yeah, it crashed their servers.
Too late. None of us have DVRs.
Oh, no. I think I still have it setting on DVR.
Not for the Super Bowl. I don't know. I didn't.
Well, I mean,
people take them just for the commercials.
My DVR, I don't have. If I'm watching something live, I can back it up.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. But I mean, it was fascinating because there's no way I was going to scan a QR code.
Nope.
And I think Andrew, you said this in the Slack. I think it's like, no, this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So, and Andrew, I want to point to you because you're sort of the resident security guy here. Why is that such a bad idea, and why was this such a success?
I think one of the hallmarks of success is, as you pointed out, it kind of emulates that DVD, waiting symbol, whatever it is, where it just bounces across the screen slowly. So that's kind of the nostalgia factor. But it was just, as you said, a QR code, and that's dangerous because it's just a symbol. You don't know what it points to until you scan it with your iPhone. And with the iPhone, I think Apple added this in iOS 11, I want to say, where you can just open up your camera app. Maybe it was iOS 12, but you just open up the camera app, point it at a QR code, and it will automatically open up whatever web page that QR code links to.
So how is that more dangerous than a URL?
I guess I would say with some programs, maybe like Apple Mail, if I think you can have some kind of warning where you hover over the URL and maybe it gives you the full, URL before
when I look at links and on the Mac, I do that, but not in Safari. I mean, I didn't happen to see this ad, but I doubt I don't think I would have bothered to click it anyway, but I don't think especially an ad on the Super Bowl, I think I'm going to assume that somebody that's going to pay $7 million is probably not going to, try to run a hack against.
Try $14 million as it was a full minute.
Okay, $14 million. They're probably, they're going to be, people are going to be able to track them down, and if they did something bad, and
Right, but if it's just a QR code, you don't know that. It's just a symbol. Right. So,
but it can't be anything other than a URL to a web page, right?
An example I wanted to point out was an article I wrote last month where there was some issue where there was these fake QR codes in Texas where I forget what city it was, but there were these QR codes people are putting on parking meters. And if you scanned it thinking that it was a legitimate QR code from the government to actually pay the parking meter, it would redirect you to this malicious webpage. So it's kind of like a phishing attack, I think, where
very passive phishing attack.
Yeah, you go to this webpage, you think it's legit, but it's not. But I guess you don't really know that at first. At least maybe some people won't know that at first because it's this gobbledygook symbol.
Well, so I guess what you're saying is don't use a QR code and then start filling in personal information.
Yeah,
which is a different thing than just saying don't use the QR code.
Well, I think
other than restaurants,
I
don't scan any QR codes.
Yeah, I guess my point was you should be careful of all QR codes in general.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay. I mean,
And who's to say that the commercial itself wasn't hijacked, or somebody at the last minute substituted the QR code that they thought they were going to put out with some other QR code?
Yeah.
I mean, money talks. You give somebody enough money, they'll do something like that.
Well, we're getting into a little bit of paranoid territory, but I agree.
No, I'm not.
And I mean, Jim has a decent point, and I think that's one reason that probably folks did it, even if they're security aware. It's like, okay, that's pretty safe.
So I'm curious now, what did it go to?
To Coinbase.
Coinbase.
So it just went to Coinbase.com?
To sign up for their service.
There was nothing. There was no special there must have been a special landing page that it went to or something. Was. And did that? They
were giving away free money to sign up for the service, like $15 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're saying this is a good QR code to click on?
Yeah.
Well,
to sign up for their service, right?
If you don't mind it, but the thing that I thought was
you hope it's good.
Yeah.
Well,
the thing I thought
is $15.
Right. What was interesting to me though is, except for the DVR thing, you didn't know exactly what it was until you scanned it. Because the Coinbase indicator did not come up until after the QR code was off the screen. So it's
my guess is a lot of people that did what I just said. They backed up in their DVR and
maybe so. But I'm backed up in a commercial during the Super Bowl. If you cared enough to watch the Super Bowl,
well,
I don't know.
I think most people have DVRs, and if you were like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, certainly, I would not get my camera out and start scanning QR codes on TV commercials, but not so much because I would be like paranoid about the security of it. Just like I'm too lazy to, my phone's over there, or I just don't care. I don't click on links and banner ads either.
Right. I mean, I don't either, but like so many people did that it still crashed the servers. So this is, I think, still a problem where, we tell people don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as their password. To me, this is just like basic privacy, security, hygiene. Like, don't do things you're not sure of.
Well, maybe there should be, QR codes are not allowed on broadcast television.
Right.
I mean, I would have no problem with a rule like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but also, I mean, to kind of go where you did before, Jim, though, just because a URL is on TV doesn't mean that it hasn't been hijacked, compromised, or, otherwise potentially nasty. The one advantage to having a URL, unless it's been run through Bitly, is that at least you can get a look at it. You can look at the domain and say, right, gee, does this go to...
I just said that maybe it should be, QR codes aren't allowed. I would not object to a rule like that. And even if it's not a law, like maybe, the network should decide, we're not going to allow that.
They don't know any better. It's new technology to the network.
Right. But, okay, so now we're talking about it. Somebody fire off a letter to NBC.
If you think they're going to turn down $14 million,
no, they're not,
because there might be an issue.
I'm sure there's I'm sure there's things where they'll turn, they won't let just anything on in an ad. So, they just say, no, don't do that. Give us something else, or we'll give it to the next person. That's, I'm sure they had a waiting list of people that wanted to spend $14 million on an ad.
There was like tons of gambling commercials. Anyone tired of all the stupid gambling commercials now?
I just don't even notice them.
Yeah. Well, they all kind of have the same thing, in a little banner at the bottom of it.
What I'm tired
gambling
of
can be dangerous. Don't gamble more than you can afford to lose.
What I'm tired of is ads for prescription medicines.
Oh, well,
honestly, I find those so it's not so much the medicine or what it's there to solve. It's the side effects that it's like, well, this could cause brain aneurysms, but it'll take care of that for you.
Well, first of all, that's a good example that there are rules, because they're doing that because there's been rules, and so the ad has to be turned down if it doesn't have that. But it used to be that ads for prescription medicine weren't allowed at all, and I think that was good. I mean, I don't think people should be going to their doctors and saying, "I demand this medicine." It seems like that's I mean, ultimately, we're all paying for those ads in our insurance bills.
Yeah.
It struck me just as, I mean, I gave them credit because they did an eye-catching ad. It was
They did.
in an era of multi-million-dollar 30-second spots. This thing was put together. Could have been put together in an afternoon in about 10 minutes, and
they got everybody
very effective.
Perplexed, like, what is this? A full minute.
Yeah,
It's bouncing around.
This edition of MacVoices is supported by Zocdoc. Find local doctors who take your insurance. Finding and booking a doctor who's right for you doesn't need to be a terrible experience. Will they take your insurance, understand your needs, or be available when you can see them? With Zocdoc, the answer can be a refreshingly pain-free yes. Zocdoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. Go to Zocdoc.com, choose a time slot and whether you want to see the doctor in person or do a video visit. And just like that, you're booked. In the chaotic world of healthcare, let Zocdoc be your trusted guide to find a quality doctor in a way that is surprisingly pain-free. With Zocdoc, you can get your docs in a row. Go to Zocdoc.com/MacVoices and download the Zocdoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's Zocdoc, ZocDoc.com/MacVoices. Zocdoc.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Zocdoc for their support of MacVoices. I admit, at one point, I started to wonder, did something go wrong with the broadcast? Because
that was my original
when
thought.
during the game was it?
It was in the first half.
First half
Was
or
it?
something.
Yeah.
I wonder if I must have been looking at my iPad or because I completely missed it. And
it was a good game, so I think a lot of
Yeah.
people watched it. So
Great game.
No, I
Yeah.
watched the game,
You didn't watch the ads.
but
you kind of watch Super Bowl ads.
well, you know what? Actually, there was quite a few where I was like, I just reflexively pick up my iPad, during ads, and there was quite a few times like, wait a minute, no, I should not be doing that because, the ads might be more entertaining than the game. But especially if there was an ad that was just a minute of a QR code bouncing. So was there a sound or was it just like an Atari?
No.
Yeah,
Just-
so I might have just
moving around the screen.
I might have just
Different colors.
picked up my picked up my iPad and just ignored it. I get real short attention span around ads.
I
So
gave you the
Brian-
link in our private chat so you can
Awesome,
so you can
thank
watch
you.
it. So
Yeah. So Brian in the chat room says he was watching NBA basketball a couple nights ago, and they had QR codes overlaid on the court. Scan to sign up for season tickets.
Wow.
a
So-
lot of those gambling sites do it. I mean,
Oh, sure.
Oh, this is funny.
DraftKings and all those other ones. So I mean, they do it.
Yeah.
So does not change subject, but the other ad I was talking about was that FTX ad with Larry David. Other than the fact that was similar to what Coinbase is because it's cryptocurrency. I thought it was quite amusing that should you buy cryptocurrency? And Larry David goes, no, and I would never. How Larry David is
The wheel.
Yeah.
The wheel, yeah. So
not
it was
going
it was a funny ad as well as again similar. To what the ad did was it really had him say, should you really invest in cryptocurrency? By him saying, no, but that's what gets people hooked.
But how many crypto ads did we see? I mean, what did we see?
Well, those
4,
only 2
5,
I
6?
remember.
Oh, I think there was the one with all the people flying around like a flock of birds. That was crypto. I forget,
Crypto.com. That's right.
Yeah.
I just watched that Coinbase ad thanks to David. Thank you. And I think it's kind of sucky. And I'm surprised. I am surprised that a lot of people clicked on it, not because of security, but just, I think if I would have noticed it, I would have had the same thought of what the hell is this? the network
there
been
something
hijacked
wrong?
or is there
Yeah.
something wrong? That does not,
That was my thought.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. And even at the end where it says Coinbase, it was kind of washed out, and that just flashed on the screen. So there must just be people that are just like into QR codes and saw a QR code and like I don't care what it is. Maybe they're Pokemon players or something.
Yeah, those were the ones that actually
response.
did jump off the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get off.
Yeah. Hey, I want to welcome Kelly Gamont. She has made her appearance. Kelly, good to
Hey.
see you.
Kelly!
Nice to be here.
Kelly.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Oh,
We're
Kelly's
just-
here. I'm leaving now.
Hey, last week I actually got something right. I said something is something the young people say, and you agreed. So
I have no memory
stick
of
around.
this.
I don't either. No, I remember you saying it. That's all I remember was like I won at MacVoices Live because
Wait a minute, aren't you young people?
Compared to us, yes.
I mean,
Yeah, got awful quiet.
It's like we got
Yeah,
quiet.
I-
We're
everything
gonna
stopped
go
it.
down there.
I got
Run.
nothing.
It's like,
No,
it's okay. I'm 61. I don't care.
But
Yeah.
we determined that
I
at least that someone in the halftime show had a record, like their first record is older than Andrew. So
I
that
did
was the
read
thing
that.
that we
Oh.
determined.
Dr.
read
Dre.
that.
So, yeah,
Like
Dr.
Dr.
Dre's
Dre.
first album.
Mm.
Dr. Dre's first
Yeah.
album made its debut before Andrew Orr made his debut. So
Early
know.
90s.
there you go.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
he
No,
was
he
in
was the
NWA,
80s.
straight out of
Or
Compton
80s,
is
80s, that's right.
1986.
80s,
Yeah.
that's right. Late 80s. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, this is not a football show or a music show, although sometimes it
Yeah.
Well,
impersonates
shoot.
both.
Why
Okay.
not?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if it's not a
Kelly's
music
leaving.
show, I'm out. Okay, bye,
Yeah.
buddy.
Well, the last thing I'll say is the Wall Street Journal did have an article that they talked about. This is maybe the crypto bull, and there was the other one was Binance was the other company that did their ad too. So,
You know,
crypto is here, and that's
I watched all the ads and I just didn't think they were particularly creative or fun this year. Like the one that gave me the most Super Bowl ad, I mean, aside from Budweiser, because like that's probably as close as America gets to an American institution is the Budweiser Super Bowl ad. But aside from that, like the Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen one was funny, but it was only funny, like it was mostly funny if you knew who they were. Because there's the moment when he goes, I've never seen any of your movies, even the ones you're in with me. Like, you have to kind of know who they are to know why that would be amusing. But like, I didn't see a whole lot of, what's that? Like,
Yeah,
like
no,
phenomenon
nothing people are
sort
going to
of.
meme
we're
about.
dating ourselves from that ad.
Yeah, no,
Where's
dating,
the beef?
dating ourselves is I'd like to buy the world a Coke, and throw in
that
a
one.
jersey to someone in a hallway. Like that's a dated reference. But
That is.
look it up, Andrew. That's older than you too.
That's almost
but-
older than me.
Me and Joe
It's
Green.
almost- Yeah, I think it's older than me. But like I didn't see as much like creativity and sort of like great big names in a lot of stuff this year. Aside from like the movie trailer adverts, I didn't see a whole lot of other stuff that had a lot of like great big names that that everybody knows. Like last year, Dolly Parton did an ad for whoever it was and named and redid 9 to 5 for people's side hustles, and like that was
This year.
clever. And
Well, she did one
Dolly
this year.
Parton.
Yeah, she
Did
did it with
she?
T-Mobile.
I didn't
T-Mobile
see
and
it.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
It was
Oh my
one
God,
of the
it was
first ones.
horrible.
I stand
It
corrected.
was,
I
her
didn't see that
appearance
one.
was pretty brief, wasn't it?
What was it like? Save the phones or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I can't even
It
remember.
really
It was
dumb.
really
They
dumb.
released a song for it too. Save the iPhone. Save the
Fred.
phone.
Fred in the chat room says that's a spicy meatball.
Yeah.
Remember that one? There you go.
I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Hello
Plop,
and welcome
plop,
to
fizz,
Retro
fizz.
Commercials Live
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Chuck Joyner.
Did
Ah,
anybody
That was
think, though-
early 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody remember seeing the Amazon Alexa ad though? Oops, I'm sorry, I
Yes.
said the word.
Oh,
Did you guys
hey,
think
lady.
that was? Did you guys think that was a dropped ball? I mean that just seemed to highlight the fact that the A lady gets things wrong all the time.
Yeah, they
It's
really.
the way I-
It's like they made fun of themselves. It was
Yeah.
Colin Jost and Scarlett Johansson. His
Oh,
wife.
if it could read your mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was clever.
I thought
at
that was
least.
a good ad, but I'd seen it 10 times before the game.
Yeah.
Oh,
It wasn't- it
was
certainly
the
That was
first
the first
new.
time for me. Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought, man, that did not make me want to go and buy an A-Lady.
No.
Oh,
It was like they were making fun of themselves, really, what it was.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess, but it didn't come out that. I didn't think it was that funny. I just thought it was kind of sad. So I don't know. Each
Oh yeah, I thought it was funny. It didn't make me want to buy an A-Lady, but I don't think anything would.
Well,
Fair.
I've got plenty of them here, so.
Yeah.
Well, since we started off on a privacy and security thing, I wanted to talk a little bit about chat apps.
Okay.
And again, pointing to Andrew because he's the security guy.
I was gonna say, good thing Andrew's here. I'll go get a snack.
Yeah. I think we all need to understand a little better about, which apps are operated by whom, the encryption aspect of things. And what got me started on this was, I guess it was one morning last week, there was this ad touting, and you probably have seen this one, where the guy posing as a mailman, walks up and hands the customer open letters. And they look at him like, my letters are all open. And they say, yeah, it's just like sending an unencrypted text, that everybody can see it. And so, but if you're okay sending unencrypted text, it's okay for us to open your mail and look at it. And then at the very bottom, there's this little meta symbol. And it's like, okay, what's wrong with this advertisement?
Before we go any further, Andrew, do you have a beer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right, as long as you are appropriately equipped for this conversation, then here we go.
Yeah. So Andrew, I mean, and we're seeing a lot of things about WhatsApp, and we hear about Signal. And of course, we all probably one way or another use messages, Apple's messages.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're sending them out across to Android phones or we're sending them just amongst ourselves to iPhones. So I wanted to ask you to just give us a quick summary, if you can, about which ones are encrypted, which ones are safe, which ones are a good idea to use, and which ones are a good idea to avoid.
So I'm just going to use the examples you gave. So iMessage, Signal, WhatsApp. Signal is, as far as I've seen, that is the most recommended app in the privacy circles. It's open source, it's end-to-end encrypted. It offers a lot of features that the regular chat apps have, like sending pictures, phone calls, group messages, multimedia stuff like that. WhatsApp, it is owned by Facebook. They acquired it at some point. They say it is end-to-end encrypted. I don't think that they have made their algorithm open source, but they do say this is E2E, and they are still able to run ads on people around the metadata, around the messages, around the conversations, which is still an important data point. And metadata means who you're messaging, when you're messaging, your location. That is still important to advertisers. Mm-hmm. iMessage, I just want to say, it is end-to-end encrypted, but I want to say it's only under certain circumstances.
Phone to phone. Like if they're green, they're not end-to-end because Apple can't control the encryption on the Android side. But I'm just jumping in. This is not my show, but I do want to take a second, Andrew, and point out, when Andrew and I have a conversation, it's always on a podcast. So it was weird. It was just habit, I guess. So.
Oh, no, that's okay.
But what does end-to-end encryption mean? Because that's the part I think is important that sometimes gets lost in this conversation, because lots of people talk about messages being encrypted or unencrypted, and like some end-to-end is the phrase that pays if you're going to talk about encrypted messages. So take us through that, Andrew.
Yeah, so end-to-end means all the data is encrypted at all points. The client devices, the the user device and, the server, it's encrypted end to end. I guess I can try to break that down. Like the encryption key is controlled by ideally the client device. As opposed to that, you'll find a lot of companies they say encrypted in transit and at each end, which is not the same. They encrypt it at rest, they encrypt it on the client device, but while it's traveling through the air, it's not encrypted, which that kind of lets them perform their, computation stuff more quickly, because when it's encrypted, it's kind of hard to do that. Mm-hmm. So, that's a very, very, very basic explanation. But I wanted to go back to iMessage. So it's only E to E encrypted under certain circumstances. So at some point, Apple has introduced a feature where you can, it's called Messages in iCloud. So if you turn on this feature, you can have your messages, iMessages, which are normally end-to-end encrypted, backed up to your iCloud. But if it's an iCloud backup, Apple can theoretically decrypt that because iCloud backup is not end-to-end encrypted. So, they say this is for, well, in case you forget your password, maybe we can try to recover your account. And they can only recover account if maybe they have some chance of trying to recover your password. And so I guess that just depends on if you trust Apple, then maybe you can trust iMessage's security. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that makes sense.
I mean, we're backing up iMessage anyway because you don't want to lose all those text messages. If you don't have it backed up, if you use iCloud, it's backing it up. So then I've restored many of iPhones back and had all my messages restored nice and clean and neat. If you don't have that backed up, then it's that kind of be a bummer. And I think you kind of have to weigh, is security that important to you that you're backing it up on iCloud?
And the thing about it is two things are true at that point. Like your iMessage chat, like Andrew and I are texting each other iPhone to iPhone. My messages are encrypted on my device and they're end-to-end encrypted because I'm sending them from my iPhone to Andrew's iPhone. But if I have iCloud backup turned on or messages in iCloud turned on, then those messages, like that backup is not encrypted. So the messages themselves might be, but if somebody were able to gain access to my backup, they would have a way to get into all of those things. So like Andrew said, you kind of have to, it's twofold. You have to trust the other person. And you also have to trust that Apple is going to, does that person have the backup turned on? And if they do, that backup is not encrypted. So that's part of what you have to keep in mind when you're looking at these things.
In the next edition of Mac Voices, we continue our discussion of QR code security, and then we stay in the security area by talking about security and chat applications. That's next time on Mac Voices. I hope you'll join us. Until then, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.